Nations, its President, Honorable Junga Oka, and the members of the Executive Committee of Interreligious Gathering of Prayer for Peace, for World Peace, commemorating the 25th anniversary of Religious Summit meeting at Mount Hiei, where I was present at that time also. And especially I would like to thank our dear friend, Venerable Sultani. This is the right time to hear a voice from Syria, which is passing a real tsunami, a real earthquake. For me, it was not so easy to come and be participated in this gathering because all the roads going to the airport are closed. So it was a miracle for me to be out of Syria and to be with you in this important gathering. I thank you also all to give me this opportunity to hear me and listen to me on my reflection on what's happening today in Syria. I put the title of my intervention, A Roadmap for Peace in Syria. Since mid-March 2011, my country, Syria, which is known to the world for its rich history, culture, healthy plurality, and exemplary coexistence, is experiencing today unprecedented chaos. It all began with a peaceful protest movement and gradually escalated into multi-layered violence. The vulnerable majority has been devastated. A long-standing and unacceptable malpractices by some Syrian officials emerged in the 1980s. These unchecked malpractices led to widespread. This culminated in corruption, which gradually spread and invested many departments of the state. Naturally, this inflicted deep anxiety among Syrian citizens. The yoke of persistent corruption generated discrete popular foment, which eventually triggered the protest movement. The first spark came against arbitrary decisions taken by some security services. Syrian citizens thought a new wave of repression was dominating the thoughts and actions of some security services. The waves of changes were depicted as an Arab Spring, which had a domino effect that swept through Tunisia, Egypt, Libya, and Yemen. Syrians felt the breeze of the relative successes of those waves of changes. They thought the Arab Spring could be an effective tool to eradicate corruption, the plague of their society, hence the popular demonstrations. The first spark was ignited at Daraa, a town of the Jordanian border, leading to a restlessness in cities in mainland Syria, then moved to the coastal cities. The major outbreak of violence began in Hama, a city which experienced uprising and ugly unrest in the 1980s. Soon the unrest moved to the ancient city of Homs, in the heart of Syria. Here, murder on identity, assassinations, kidnapping, vandalizing, looting, and setting on fire of governmental buildings and public utility installations were the order of the day. The violence and upheaval shattered the demographic fabric of the city and its ancient coexistence. Religious foment and forced displacements uprooted of peaceful residents of the city. Homs became a ghost town. Many quarters were deserted and fell into ruins. Inside those quarters, many religious houses of worship were built, especially 7 old Christian churches. Thousands became homeless, many of whom are in urgent and desperate need of medical treatment and humanitarian relief, which are still in short supply. After the 20th of July, other cities in Syria were attacked, leading to a very complicated situation, such as my city, Aleppo, where we spent days and nights worried about the unknown future of the population. The protest movement created a state of an anomaly in the Syrian society. A plethora of spine-chilling scenarios started to be discussed openly in different political discourses, including: first, civil war of sectarian dimensions among people of one harmonious nation who belong to different religions, ethnicities, cultures, and languages. They have lived for generations in one homeland called Syria. Second, UN sanctions imposing a crippling international sanction under the auspices of the UN, which harmed the people more than the regime. Third, military intervention under the Security Council cover in an attempt to put an end to the chaos and turmoil which prevail in Syria today. Fourth and last, breakup of the state. Nightmarish scenario which threatens the existence of the state by fragmenting it into many teeny entities. The different sectors of Syrian society which comprise Christian, Muslim, Arab, and Kurds, people who once coexisted in pluralistic society, shared its resources and work for the country's progress and prosperity. They will be compartmentalized along their religious, ethnic, cultural, and linguistic lines. Furthermore, no one denies that the upheaval is the result of people's ideas, perceptions, and visions, although varied in accordance with their varied allegiances, but all agree to maintain in a united Syria as a homeland for all. Furthermore, a universal common popular vision is the expansion of the margin of freedom and the enrichment of pluralistic of cultures, religions, sects, and creeds. They seek to enhance freedom of belief, choice, gain greater dignity, and establish the concept of citizenship. They demand more social justice, the rule of law, civil society unity, and coexistence. They have agreed to work together and stand against those who want to propagate chaos and anarchy that undermine the bound of the national fabric and destroy the concept of national unity. Is there a solution to spare Syria further bloodshed? So far, the Syrian society has suffered in excess of 30,000 martyrs, including victims of the massacre of 18 July 2012. Clearly, no one is safe or immune from the spiraling violence. It is possible that the solution to this socio-political crisis can come simultaneously from inside and outside Syria. A solution mutually accepted to all factions. A solution could prove tenable, plausible, and effective in addressing the root causes of the protest movement, activate the rule of law, displace the state of anxiety, and bring about security, safety, and stability. So far, the most important endeavors to re-establish peace and stability in Syria have emanated from the international initiative of Mr. Kofi Annan, who resigned yesterday. It has not yet attained the desirable level of success. Annan's initiative requires the following factors. First, to bring about a lasting ceasefire between the warring parties in Syria and establish security and normality to the daily living of the Syrians. Second, the needed humanitarian aid must be allowed to enter freely and swiftly, especially in areas that are currently beyond the reach of international aid organizations and agencies such as the Red Cross and Red Crescent. Such agencies should be allowed to provide the desperately needed humanitarian assistance and relief for those in need and all areas. The scope of humanitarian need is vast. Third, repatriate all displaced citizens who suffered forced internal and external immigration. Fourth, the warring factions must be brought to the negotiation table. Such negotiations should involve the entire Syrian spectrum, especially representatives of the opposition, both in and out of Syria, should be included. The main aim of such negotiations is to free Syria from the cultures of evil which is strangling the Syrian society. Hopefully, successful negotiations could lead to a new formula to secure the return of peace and stability to Syria. It may be a national council at home, with full representation of the full spectrum of the Syrian mosaic. Such a council will lead Syria into the next phase. The success of such an important national initiative of reconciliation will hopefully bring accord among belligerent factions of Syrian brothers. Such a national council should be charged with following priorities: the development of constitutional principles to ensure equal rights for all citizens, formulation of future policies for Syria, including external relations, address the undesirable outcomes of the crisis, such as the divisions of the army, and restore its unity, establish a code of conduct for the Syrian security services to ensure that mistakes of the past will not be repeated. Most important of all is the restoration of confidence and mutual respect among all citizens. In conclusion, the National Council should be accountable to a national unity government that embraces all parties, including the opposition, both inside and outside Syria. The most important tasks of this government should be to ensure free and fair elections for the new parliament. Second, establish a professional commission able to develop a modern and permanent constitution to ensure the elimination of the concept of hegemony of individuals, political or religious parties, a norm experienced in many Arab countries. Establish a new law of parties to regulate their participation in the political life of a new city. Lastly, arrange for the election of a new president under the new constitution, a leader who can uphold the interests of Syria and return Syria to safe, secure, stable, peaceful, and democratic state. Lastly, an appeal from all honest, virtuous, and noble citizens of Syria to peacemakers everywhere, and especially in our gathering here at Hiei, to work for stopping the bloodshed in Syria and to be part of bringing peace, prosperity, dignity, and comfort to the country and its people. We are in need of your prayers, your support. Thank you for listening.
のみならず生命の危険にさらされる